Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? I hope you're doing well, and I hope everything in your world is good. Let me know in the comments. So, the other day I talked to you about the drawer that I made for my friend, and I feel like we had half of this conversation that I'm about to have with you, but maybe we didn't. Maybe I'm wrong. But I had a conversation with my daughter today, and it was so familiar that it was scary. So I made a drawer. Made a simple box with a plywood bottom and trimmed it, and that's it. I made it by using this sort of tongue and dado joint cut on a table saw where there's a dado on one side and a tongue that slips in. I put a slot in the bottom for the bottom to sit in, build a drawer. And it's a fairly simple project, fairly simple woodworking technique. Basically made it 95% on the table saw, the rest was just kind of finessing and gluing together. Maybe did a little bit of pre-trimming on the miter saw, I'm not sure. But the point is, it doesn't require a whole lot, and it makes for a really strong drawer the way that joint goes together. And the thing is, I had never made that joint before. Why? That's what I want to talk to you about. So I was sitting, took my oldest to dinner tonight, and we were talking, and she said she wants to draw more, but she doesn't know why she doesn't draw. She doesn't draw as much as she would like to. She's a very good artist, and she loves to draw, but she just gets hung up on it. And I said, as soon as she started talking about it, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how I am. Why have I never made this drawer before? Well, because I knew I could do it. And so if I know I can do something, I'm not excited to do it. For me, the challenge of trying something new is what excites me. So doing something like making this drawer, even though I had never made this before, even though I had never attempted this joint style before, I knew it was something that I could do. And so it was just kind of like, eh. And the same thing with her and her drawing. Like, she knows she can draw, so that's, what am I going to draw? Like, do you just constantly challenge yourself? Well, that's kind of, that can also be difficult. And for both of us, she said she likes to draw, she has ideas, but sometimes she gets these ideas and she doesn't think she can execute. And so she'll never try because she's scared of failing, essentially. And I do the exact same thing. I have lots of things I want to try, but I'm afraid of failing. And so instead of practicing by trying and trying again and trying again, I just don't do it. And I have this quirk. I don't know if she suffers the same problem, but I have this problem with I don't like to do things more than once, ever. I don't play video games more than once. I don't build things more than once. It's just, I lose interest in it once I've conquered it. And so that's a problem. And so this is all leading up to, I love these tools. I love this space. I love coming down here and seeing sawdust in the air and smelling wood and making things and gluing things and putting stuff together. And I need to get over myself. Yes, I proved that I was capable of building this drawer and this box, or this tongue and dado joint, first time without ever having tried it before, and it worked out perfectly. There was no gaps in the joints. Everything was nice. Yeah, I knew I could do it, and I did it, and I proved it to myself. But you know what? I actually had a lot of fun doing it. I had a lot of fun just making a simple box with a joint style that I'd never tried, even though I had confidence in it. And that kind of inspired me a little bit. And, there are woodworking channels you can watch where people practice doing things each week. Jonathan Katz-Moses, if you haven't heard of him, he has this channel where he does a new type of joint each week. It's called the joint of the week, and it's usually some sort of crazy dovetail joint that you've never seen before or something like that. And so he gets two pieces of scrap wood and he makes this joint, and it's practice. And I've never done stuff like that because, like, making that drawer, I would never come down here and just make a drawer. Like, what's the purpose of that? Without having a use for that drawer, I would never try it. Or I have some wood sitting over there that would be nice to make little things out of, like maybe even a little slide top box for a bottle of hot sauce or a ring box or something like that. But I'll never come down here and make it because I have no use for it, and I feel like, I don't know, that trips me up as well. So I'm trying to get over this idea of, number one, being afraid of failure. Number two, being afraid to do something just because I've done it or just because I think I know how to do it, and so it's not a challenge or whatever. I got to figure out a way past all of that. And I've been searching for, the answer, and I'm not positive. But hearing my daughter say it, hearing her basically parrot back to me, I wish I drew more. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I spent more time at the tools. Why don't I? Probably because I'm afraid. I think that's the main thing holding me back. I have a whole bin of scrap wood sitting right here. I have a huge bin of scrap wood in there, and some actually very nice project wood on drying racks. Why don't I sit here and just make a random box? I don't know. I have to figure that out. I have to figure a few things out, but that's one of the things I really want to figure out. So if you have any ideas, if you have any suggestions, let me know. If you struggle with the same sort of problem, let me know what you do to overcome it, or what you've tried that hasn't worked for you. Because I think that practicing at overcoming that is a problem in of itself that I'm afraid of trying, right? I'm afraid of trying to overcome it or something like that. I just have to work that out. And I would love, to know if you have any tips or tricks, because there's lots of stuff I could do down here with lots of cool tools. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I appreciate you. And I will see you tomorrow.
Hey, Doc, wait! I want to ask you something.
Today's random fact comes from nasa.gov. When did the astronauts walk on the moon? Apollo 11 blasted off from Earth on July 16, 1969. Neil Armstrong and Edwin Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins were the astronauts on Apollo 11. 4 days later, on July 20th, 1969, Armstrong and Aldrin landed on the moon.